part-time chairman of two companies, Wiggle, online cycling retailer, and Republic, where we are today, fashion brand, and then I also help manage a few startups that I've invested some money in. Before I did my MBA, I actually was an undergraduate engineering student, graduated and then worked in engineering for 6 years, became a chartered engineer. It was in the late 80s, early 90s when the industry was in collapse. So I chose to go to Cranfield really to fundamentally transform the direction of my career. First of all, it ranked very well on all of the rankings. People who I knew had been on it thought very highly of it, and certainly a number of people had transformed their careers through being there. But perhaps most importantly, the guy who was my boss at the engineering company I worked for had actually done a couple of personal development programs at Cranfield and really encouraged me very actively to consider Cranfield. It was one of the best years of my life for a whole load of reasons. First of all, I was fortunate enough to do very well academically at Cranfield. That allowed me, secondly, to use it very much for what I intended to do. It transformed my career. Very importantly, I met my future wife at Cranfield as well, so it was a great year. So in terms of something I really remember from the programme that was a bit surprising, it wasn't one of the Cranfield staff, it was someone who came in as a guest lecturer, and it was all about the secrets of success. And he had this unbelievably simple idea, which is about planning your life in threes. 3 things you're going to do in 3 months, 3 things you're going to do in 3 years, because most of us plan over an annual horizon and most of us probably plan too many things. So actually I use that all the time now. So everything I do, I try and plan in threes and do them in 3 months and 3 years, and it seems to work really well for me. Post Cranfield, I worked for Asda for nearly 18 years, rising up the ranks, and was chief exec for 5 years, chairman for a year. People ask me what was different when I joined Asda as an MBA versus another route into Asda. And I think when you imagine in your early career, most of us do a very specific functional area. You become very blinkered and quite narrow-minded, I think, and I certainly think that was true of me before I did the Cranfield MBA. So by the time I'd left Cranfield, I think if I had an advantage over others, it was just that the MBA taught me to be a broader thinker. I had certain other skills by having studied all of those different topics, and that paid me well at that point, and it has done ever since. I also think it was about the people I met and the whole experience that just made me think differently and allow me to feel very confident stepping out of my functional area when I eventually left Cranfield and went on to Asda. I really was very fortunate. I'm not sure how many people do this, but I absolutely managed to transform my career totally from being a professional chartered engineer into a general manager in a retail industry. That's absolutely down to the self-confidence and the capabilities I learned at Cranfield. Cranfield's continue to be a resource for me primarily through the network that I developed there and since. It's a good alumni. A lot of the people who I met there, I'm still in touch with in one way or another. In fact, someone who was on the course with me there's actually working here at Republic now. But equally, it works the other way around as well. I feel very grateful for what Cranfield did for me, so I try and give back. So I go down to Cranfield, give a lecture sometimes when I can. I'm involved in the advisory board, so I like to reciprocate as well. What would I say to someone pursuing an MBA at Cranfield? I think, first of all, as a university, it's a great choice. I think an MBA programme is still very worthwhile. The market's changed dramatically. I think in that context, you absolutely need to be much more selective about where you're going to do an MBA. So I'd applaud people for choosing Cranfield. What I've learned about leadership is really about self-management and self-reflection, and making myself a better person will make me a better leader. So I certainly think Cranfield gave me the skills and the reflection to allow me just to think about myself more, think about my own learning, and think about what I do well and do poorly. I certainly think in reflection, the Cranfield MBA was transformational to my career.